Hey folks, welcome to Roll of Law. Today I want to talk about something that's had a really negative impact on tabletop role-playing, at least in my opinion. And this is an impact that is felt both as a player, but also as a DM. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the movie The Incredibles, and specifically this moment right here.
And now I have a weapon that only I can defeat. And when I unleash it, I'll get... Ah! You sly dog! You got me monologuing! I can't believe it.
Okay, so what's wrong with this, you might be asking? Well, the thing is that monologues are actually something that is good in most campaigns. The DM has worked very hard to create a campaign and an adventure and a villain, and has probably put a lot of effort into this villain, thinking about who they are and what they're about and so forth. They're not just a bunch of stats. They're not just a bonus to attack rolls and a damage modifier and all of these things. They're ideally a character, and a character that the DM has wanted to play, and they only really get to play them a little bit. A lot of the time the villain and the players are not going to be in the same space, because if they are, then usually that results in combat, and usually that results in one side or the other getting defeated. So this is really the DM's opportunity to kind of ham things up and to tell you about the villain's evil plan and what they're up to and why they're doing all of the things they've been doing. You know, why have they been raising all the undead? Is it just because they like undead, or is there something else going on? And so the DM is there and they've got this monologue, they're going to do it, and what happens? Well, you get a player or multiple players going, I stab him in the face. And the DM is trying to have their big moment. Keep in mind, the DM is also a player at the table. The DM is somebody who needs to be having fun. In fact, the DM's fun is really important, because if you want the game to keep going, the DM has to enjoy doing what they're doing. DMs are not supposed to be these selfless, people who are just going through misery in order to bring you an adventure. They've got to like doing it. So you've got to let them have the fun moments for the DM. So let the villain monologue. Now, DMs sometimes end up encouraging this in ways that they may not realize. So DMs, if you are giving players a surprise round or a bonus for stabbing the villain in the face in the middle of your monologue, well, keep in mind, it means you're never going to get to do a monologue again. So I think that D&D's rules actually fit with this fairly well, because they say unless you've actually literally got surprise, like somebody doesn't know you're there, you've got the jump on them, it's an ambush, that the way you determine who goes first isn't who shouts, I stab him in the face first. It's you roll initiative. And so when I'm running a table, if you say I stab the villain as he's doing his monologue, you get no bonuses for that. There's no benefit to it. Honestly, if I was inclined, I'd be more inclined to impose a penalty, except that I'm not a big believer in character punishments to solve an out-of-character problem. Certainly you don't want to reward things that you don't want to see, but better is just to have a talk with people and say, listen, you're not going to get any benefits from this, but can I have my moment? Can I do the thing? And, we can banter. We can all of this. It'll be fun. Let's do that. And usually players, when you talk to them about that, are more willing to do it. It's just that because this is sort of where the cultural zeitgeist has gotten, everybody wants to be the person who stabs the villain in the face while they're trying to do their big monologue. And keep in mind, if you're watching the movie, that monologue lasts exactly as long as the writers intended it to. In fact, that whole sneaking around to get a weapon in that moment is allowing the writers to let their villain finish the whole monologue. He gets to finish what he's saying. So in the actual movie, the monologue happens and it was just scripted to end this way. But at the table, it's an interruption. It's a break in things. It's the equivalent of if you're watching the movie and instead of, this tense moment as he's sneaking up to get a weapon, some guy in the front row is yelling, "Stab him! Stab him!" Okay, not the best. And as a player, I also want the DM to have their monologue. I'm sitting there and I want to hear why is this villain villaining? Why are they doing these things? I want to hear that too. That's something I want to be a part of. Maybe I want to talk back to the villain. Maybe I want to, whatever, but I want to have that moment. And if the guy next to me is going, I fireball him, then it's interrupting my fun as well. So keep in mind when you're doing this, there's probably at least one player who's like, but I want to hear the monologue, please. Can we have the monologue? So I don't like what this particular moment has done to role-playing, because it's really hard to get those moments in. And there are ways to sort of work around that and to fudge it. You can get the plot out through other means, but it requires a little bit more skill. And quite frankly, not every DM is going to be like a top level DM, and that's okay. It's okay to be a mid-level DM. It's okay to be a learning DM, right? It's okay to not have all of these tools in your toolbox right away. But if your DM is a learning DM and is like trying to figure out how best to do it, and this is a useful tool for them to convey what they want to convey about their adventure and their villain and so forth, let them do it. Don't interrupt them. Don't sort of throw sand in the face of what's going on. So that's kind of my little rant. I really actually think that most of the time I want to hear a monologue. Now, there may be DMs who go into too much and so forth. And again, the solution to that is to pull the DM aside after after things are going and saying, hey, you've been doing a lot of monologues and I don't enjoy them. Like that last one went for 20 minutes and we were getting bored. You want to hit that sweet spot of like 2-3 minutes, right? It's got to be a short, punchy speech, and then on to the like lightning bolts and fireballs and stabbing people in the face. So, yeah, but that should be an out of character conversation, not like shouting, I stab him in the middle of the adventure. Anyway, that's kind of my little rant. I hope hope it's useful to you. And, if you are a DM and your players are, having this, might be time to have a talk and say, listen, I want to do the monologues. Can you let me do the monologue, please? And if you're a player who's doing this, you should consider that maybe you might be messing with the DM's fun and other people's fun at the table. So, thank you for watching. Hope that's helpful, and see you next time.